beneath the enchanted sky, when friendship turns to fire. In the midst of their 4th year at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, Harry Potter and Hermione Granger are facing more than just the challenges of classes and the looming threat of dark forces. The Triwizard Tournament has brought excitement and danger to the school, but it's the upcoming Yule Ball that stirs a different kind of anticipation. Amid the flurry of dress robes and dance lessons, Harry and Hermione begin to notice a shift in their long-standing friendship. Subtle glances and unspoken feelings surface, leading them to confront emotions they've kept hidden. As they agree to attend the ball together, what starts as a comfortable arrangement between friends evolves into a night of revelations. This story follows their journey as they navigate the complexities of growing up, the magic of first love, and the strength of a bond that could change their lives forever. Chapter 1. A Dance to Remember. The great hall buzzed with excitement. The usual clatter of silverware and the hum of conversation had been replaced with bubbling laughter and hushed whispers. Every corner of the castle seemed alive with talk of the Yule Ball, who was asking whom, who was wearing what, and which pair might end up under the enchanted mistletoe. At the Gryffindor table, Harry Potter sat quietly, absently stirring his mashed potatoes. His emerald eyes darted across the hall, trying to avoid making eye contact with anyone. The pressure of the ball was mounting, a tangible weight pressing down on his chest. Beside him, Ron Weasley was shoveling down his dinner, oblivious to the tension in the air. "Have you asked Cho yet?" Ron's voice cut through Harry's thoughts, muffled slightly by the piece of bread stuffed in his mouth. Hermione, sitting across from them, shot Ron a glare of pure disapproval. "No, Ron, I haven't. What if she says no? Or worse, what if she's already going with Cedric?" Ron waved his hand dismissively as though the answer was obvious. "You're Harry Potter. She won't say no." Across the table, Hermione scoffed, her fork pausing midair. "Oh, for Merlin's sake, Ronald. That's not how asking someone works. Harry, you just need to be honest and confident. If she's already taken, it's not the end of the world." Harry glanced at her, grateful for her reassurance, but still not convinced. He'd seen how Cedric Diggory and Cho Chang looked at each other. How could he possibly compete with Cedric? The thought made his stomach churn. "Easy for you to say," Ron retorted, his ears reddening slightly. "I bet you've already got someone lined up, haven't you?" Hermione stiffened, her fork clattering onto her plate. "That's none of your business." Harry looked up, surprised at her sharp tone. Hermione was usually quick to snap at Ron, but there was something different in her voice this time, something defensive. He noticed the faintest pink tinge spreading across her cheeks, and he wondered briefly who she might be thinking about. Before he could ask, Ron leaned in, his grin turning mischievous. "You do, don't you? Who is it?" "Victor Crumb," he teased, his voice dripping with mockery. "I've seen him hanging around the library. Let me guess. He's been helping you with your light reading." Hermione's cheeks turned scarlet, and she shot Ron a glare that could have frozen the entire Black Lake. "For your information, Victor is a perfect gentleman, which is more than I can say for you." Harry quickly looked away, pretending to focus on his food as Hermione's voice grew sharper. Ron, undeterred, leaned back in his seat with a smug expression, clearly enjoying the reaction he'd provoked. The tension at the table was palpable. Harry risked a glance at Hermione and saw her clenching her knife and fork tightly, her knuckles white. He opened his mouth to say something, anything, to defuse the situation, but Hermione beat him to it. "And for the record, I haven't decided who I'm going with yet. Not that it's any of your concern." With that, she stood abruptly, gathering her things and stalking off toward the library. Harry watched her go, a pang of guilt twisting in his chest. He knew Hermione well enough to recognize when she was genuinely upset, and he hated seeing her like this. "You really know how to wind her up, don't you?" he muttered to Ron. Ron shrugged, looking unbothered. "She'll get over it. She always does." But Harry wasn't so sure. Something about the way Hermione had reacted felt different. Shaking his head, he decided to finish his meal quickly and catch up with her. The last thing he wanted was for her to spend the evening stewing over Ron's teasing. The library was quiet, the usual chatter and rustling of parchment subdued in the late evening. Harry found Hermione sitting at a table near the back, her nose buried in a large book. Her quill scratched furiously against a piece of parchment, and Harry could tell from the tension in her posture that she was still fuming. He hesitated for a moment, unsure if approaching her was the right move. But then she looked up and her expression softened slightly when she saw him. "Come to take Ron's side, have you?" she asked, her voice tinged with bitterness. Harry shook his head quickly. "No, I wanted to make sure you're okay." Hermione sighed, setting her quill down and rubbing her temples. "I'm fine. He has this infuriating way of making everything into a joke." "That's Ron for you," Harry said, offering a small smile. "But he didn't mean anything by it, you know." "I know," she admitted, her tone softening. "It's just, this whole ball thing. It's ridiculous. The pressure, the gossip. It's like the Triwizard Tournament wasn't enough excitement for everyone." Harry chuckled, pulling out a chair and sitting across from her. "Tell me about it. I've been dreading this thing since the moment McGonagall announced it." Hermione looked at him, her brows knitting together. "You haven't asked anyone yet, have you?" Harry shook his head, feeling the familiar weight of anxiety settle on his chest. "No. I was thinking about Cho, but I don't know. It feels pointless. She's probably going with Cedric." Hermione hesitated for a moment before speaking, her voice quieter. "You know, Harry, it doesn't have to be so complicated. Sometimes the best date is someone you're already comfortable with." He looked at her curiously, and for a brief moment, their eyes met in a way that felt different, more intense. The silence between them stretched, charged with something unspoken. "Maybe," Harry began, then hesitated. "Maybe we could go together?" Hermione blinked, clearly surprised by the suggestion. "You mean as friends?" "Yeah," Harry said quickly, though his voice wavered slightly. "As friends. It'd be less stressful, you know? No pressure." Hermione studied him for a moment, her expression unreadable. Then, slowly, a small smile tugged at her lips. "All right, Harry. Let's do it." "Really?" he asked, relief flooding his voice. "Really?" she said, her smile growing. "But only if you promise not to step on my toes during the dance." Harry laughed, feeling a warmth spread through him that he hadn't expected. "Deal." As they left the library together, a strange feeling lingered in the air between them, one that neither was ready to acknowledge just yet. And that's it for this chapter of Under the Enchanted Sky. I hope you enjoyed this dive into Harry and Hermione's journey through the Yule Ball and beyond. This is my very own story, and it's been so much fun bringing their emotions and untold moments to life. What did you think? Did you enjoy the way the tension between Harry, Hermione, and Ron unfolded? I'd love to hear your thoughts, favorite moments, or even your predictions for where the story might go next. If you liked this, don't forget to like, comment, and share. It helps so much to keep this magical journey going. And of course, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next chapter or any of the other incredible fanfiction content I've got lined up. Thank you so much for listening and supporting Eleanor's fan world. See you next time, and until then, stay magical.